is this is a map that's good for newer teams, or the teams are still meshing. And Nomad, the first ban, is not often banned on a map like Oregon, so the ban so far very different than I expected. I thought to see Thatcher. Where's Thatcher at?
Well, I imagine we'll see him momentarily. That or a hard breach ban. Either way you could go with. Okay, it'll be a Thatcher. So all hard breachers are up on Oregon, and with Maverick up as well, Cade is still going to have a little bit problematic of a time. But with that Nomad ban as well, I feel like that was a ban that we used to see when Oregon first came out, kind of tapered off towards the end, but not a bad ban by any means. Nomad still is certainly played frequently on Oregon. Valkyrie as well. It's Valkyrie, and it's gonna be Mirror. Like yeah.
It's Mirror. Yeah, you just called it immediately.
Same thing as last. Why even have it at this point? Why even have defensive bans? Just like permaban.
Why
There's
even
two
show the
ops.
bans? We can just guess them at this point. God damn. But yeah, this seems to be a pretty similar one. Again, the only difference really is that all the heart breaches are all available, so it should be maybe a bit different for these teams. Nomad is still a powerful tool for a lot of teams. Nomad is brought by many teams to stop flanks. It's an easy way to just make it so that someone's flanking you. So we'll see how much it changes the field for these teams as we go to downstairs, of course, to the basement. And with investigative files being on the defense first, and this core being back together from Oblation from back when SH in that first stage, are we gonna? The critical point I saw is, are they gonna be back to being aggressive, a fast team compared to what they were before in the administration, a slow moving team?
Yeah, they were very slow moving, it seemed like at times, and SH they could be that sometimes, but we're seeing it all. We're seeing Oregon, a map that this core really has never played, as the desk alluded to. So maybe it's indicative of a change of pace, or maybe it's indicative of a hidden gem that nobody ever took IF to up until this point, or this core to up until this point. They will start out on basement, and the defensive setup of investigation file, it's nothing all too crazy. We'll see the Cade, the Jaeger, the Wamai, the Goyo, and the Smoke. This is a common setup overall for this site, with some emphasis placed over towards that Freezer side as well. I believe that's both Goyo shields, one inside of Freezer, one looking into it. Some ADSs as well. A lot of focus on making sure that both Freezer and Laundry is a place that the attackers are going to have a hell of a difficult time trying to push on through. With, of course, some emphasis to the back as well, with its deployable shield looking over inside a bunker.
Yeah, same old, same old. Nothing too crazy here from the side of investigative files so far. I'm not sure if anything's going to change, because you do have, you have Subarctic, and now you have, Inreal back in the team, so there's that potential for aggression, potential to take gunfights and go back to that core that was so intense and just being, winning those fights early in the rounds. Well, let's see what happens here. They're droning first, and now we'll see LiViD in the new structure. The drones come through, and Mikey once again on the entry. You saw how crazy he was on his previous team of Laney GG. Can he keep it up once more on a new team like LiViD as he walks through? And the first player is going to be the Umai of Subarctic playing those Freezer stairs.
Not just is it Mikey. It's Mikey with the LMG. He's got 100 more bullets now. He can just hold down mouse 1 as long as he wants. And right now he'll tap fire just to open up that barricade. A drone goes in as well. Likely spots Subarctic playing on those stairs. And with LiViD entering over from this side, it indicates that they are looking to make some headway into Freezer first and foremost. They might not go for a Freezer Laundry push. They could still rotate into Meeting Hall. Plenty of time to do whatever you really want, but no, they're actually moving quickly. The Yana clone with Mikey behind it, making their way on through, but no capitalization. The Yana clone moves a bit far up, gets shot. Mikey's like, okay, we know they're actively contesting Freezer. Let me hang back, and Xeno, now you do some work holding onto this area.
So first things first, they got to go and destroy some of these shields, though. And you see those electro claws are placed on the hatches here for Meeting Hall and for the Freezer. So it's going to take some time for Carnage to open these up. And it looks like they're just trying to make sure, scope out what's going on, where these members of investigative files are. Investigation files. I keep saying investigative, but investigation.
It's like 80% the same word.
It's the same word at that point, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, they're just trying to figure out what's going on with this defense. Where are they going to push through? And they're already identifying these shields. It's going to be a first step to destroying that one shield pointing towards Freezer and taking out that second shield that's in the far back of Freezer so they can push through. But if they're going to make this play happen in the Freezer and Laundry, I feel like they're going to need a bit more to push through, because I've seen this many times before. And, well, I guess it will test the mettle of investigative files if they make this push happen.
Well, one nade sent on in, but they didn't clear out all the ADSs and Wamais. The nade is caught, but thankfully a Gone 6 and a concussion goes on in, destroys one of the shields. That's the one inside of the hallway outside of Freezer, but there are still the players playing directly inside that they have to worry about. 40 seconds left. It is a Laundry and Freezer execute that that LiViD are going for. The second nade will go on out from Xeno, but it too is caught. So the player playing back there can still hold on to his powerful angle and send out a C4 in response. A preemptive one. He gets 2 kills for himself, and he finally answers back. The new pickup lands Giddy, but it's still IF going massive, or Arrow specifically. Carnage and Indy, the final 2 left. They'll flood this side, try to make their way on in. Spots the head of Sabartic at the last second. Almost lands the knife onto Inrio, but it's still investigation file to land their first round win in stage 3.
Talk about testing the middle, and it was Arrow himself to take up the mantle and deny that freezer take whatsoever. And was while all that's happening, is Carnage and another member, I think it was Indy, walking into site trying to take control from that, that rotate into storage. But it was still at that point a 2v4, and at that point you're still trying to take fights with members like Inrio who are still playing in site, and that's a very difficult task against the man, the myth, the legend, who we thought was the crazy fragger in the first stage. Not so much in the second stage, unfortunately, but maybe in this stage he'll bring it back up and be that fragger that we've seen in the past.
Really, the big problem inside of that freezer take was they made quite an amount of headway into freezer, but they never actually removed Arrow from that position. Not only was he still behind that shield for a long time, because they were a little bit sloppy, LiViD was, on dealing with those ADSs and Wamais. Both of Xeno's nades were caught by it, which allowed Arrow to continue playing in that position and eventually go for that C4. If even one of those nades lands, maybe even both, could land a kill on Arrow, or even push him out of that position, and that seemed to be the big problem. They eventually got that hatch open, they destroyed the cage charge on it, eventually made their way down to Laundry. They had a lot of those pieces, but since you never actually managed to push Arrow out or land the trade on him, that important part of the Laundry freezer take, it is 50% of the name after all, isn't possible to grab. Now if we're able to take the first round on top of it.
It really delved on having, a synchronized take there, because someone from the side of Laundry could influence and deal with Arrow, who was playing aggressive on that freezer hold. But unfortunately, the person that really led the charge on Laundry take was the person opening up the hatches. And then at that point, by the time they opened the hatches, they were taking the time to go to Laundry, which was, Carnage B. He was the man leading that charge to Laundry, but he unfortunately, he can take the open hatches too on top of it. So not unfortunately the greatest start for LiViD, but we'll see how it goes so far as we're going upstairs for our next defense. And of course, it's that same opening up of the attic, opening up of Master into games and making that play happen. And we'll see. Well, nobody's going for big tower for attic just yet. They're still focusing on opening up this games wall first. That's the first step in this lineup, and whether or not what is IF investigation file is going to do about it.
Ooh, actually, unlucky timing for Indy on that. He's able to open up the left panel of the wall, but I believe the right panel is actually either mute jammed or it reactivated somewhere. There's no Thatcher on the board, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there. It might have just been the placement of the mute jammer, but those 8x Kairos pellets are completely stuck. Never mind, now they're destroyed from down below. The entirety of that wall that they wanted to open up is now feasible to look on through, make their way on through, what have you. But a minute 20 seconds in, and they have made progress on this master bedroom side, and they've even found someone looking to make a play on the main floor as well. That's where Indy currently is. But they have the Maverick as well. What do they plan on doing to rotate over to attic? Because half the round is now passed, and if they're going for that master bedroom attic push, they still need someone to make that play. But now with Carnage rotating over to big window, it looks like that western side of the map is where LiViD are staking their claim.
So they're going for a big window games take here. C4 flies from the side of attic above Mikey, only does a bit of damage. Mikey knows one's an attic, and so with the games wall open, now the question is, how do they pressure the members of IF elsewise? Mikey getting on the window now, try and make sure that nobody can push out from that attic door. So he's going to hold that angle and deny Indy, maybe pushing Andy out. So maybe Indy might just walk in and try to plant the fuse. Actually, Xeno is coming from white stairs. Arrow with the kill onto Indy, so it denies the person inside of walk-in closet. Xeno with the I thought Indy had the diffuser, but actually it's Xeno with the diffuser walking in white stairs. Can he walk in with no issues? Grenade pushed out. He's actually going to walk right in and go for the plant. Can he get stopped? Indy will get the kill on Whitlock, and there's kills coming through. The members from IF is trying to push back in, and there it goes. Indy once more denying the plants. And here it is, now Mikey and Carnage at the last in a 2v5.
You can see the coverage from Mikey right now. One player inside of attic, one player just to his left at the game's door, and the other player to his to his left on white stairs. Him and Karn could have tried to pinch that out, but the coverage completely and monumentally failed from the side of LiViD. Mikey and Carnage try to salvage things out, but it's a flawless round for IF in the second round. But again, Benny, that coverage, it wasn't non-existent because it was there. Mikey
Even
failed
the
to land.
Before the coverage, though, what was the plan?
True. They were going for that take. I thought they were going to go for a big window take, but instead Subarctic manages to just send his way up white. But then there's Inrio, just waiting there and gets the kill from that spot. They had a plan before that. It seemed a bit haphazard at times, but when it actually came to covering the bomb, it just LiViD didn't manage to make anything of it.
Well, it seemed like at that point the plan would be because you had Mikey on the window, so you would deny Attic, deny someone pushing through, and you had Zeno maybe playing the top of white, but Zeno had the diffuser rather than Indy. Would Indy be the one to go plant the diffuser in games coming from Master?
Well, I mean, Indy was the opening pick. Arrow managed to find him, so maybe that's what really caused the downfall for LiViD in that round was, okay, Indy, you'll go on in. Zeno, you'll hold white alongside Karn on big window. We'll stop the play there. Mikey alongside, kind of Karn, but mainly you, Mikey, with all that ammo. You'll make the play over there with maybe somebody inside a bedroom holding that coverage. And then the moment Indy fell, it was all over. Not sure, but
yeah, again, it's a weird thing to go for a big window games take and then white as well. It's not totally crazy. It seems more difficult than having somebody come from Attic and be that that pincer, because it seems like at that point it's mainly you can tell where the enemy's coming from. Hard to say. I'm not sure what's going on in the heads of LiViD, but unfortunately that play doesn't really work out. We go down to our tertiary site. We go to meeting and kitchen next for investigation files.
And keep in mind, it is still 2 defensive rounds as well. LiViD might be looking a bit hectic at times. It is still on a map where it is not uncommon for things to end out 4-2 for the defensive half. So nothing all too bad for LiViD so far. Just need to start, maybe seeing a bit more progress if we're confident in them coming away with a favorable attacking half. For the tertiary site, what a better place for that to start out. This is the site that the attackers are most likely to win out of the 3 just because it is the weakest. And for IF, they're, again, sticking to what we know from this core. They're not trying to get too crazy with it. They have their setup. It's a fairly common one at that. A Mute and the Mozzie to stop some intel being gained up top, extending up to that second floor as well, and holding down your positions, and then eventually rotating back down to that first floor. That's about as common a defensive strategy on Meeting Hall that you can get, but IF, they're known for playing the fundamentals and playing their setups extremely well, even if they're not glamorous.
Well, let's see how there's 2 members up here trying to deal with the 2 members of the defense, and there's also 2 members by that dining side in small tower, maybe looking to see if there's an exploit of weakness in this defense from investigation files. Maybe they walk into dining and kitchen and make a play happen. Hard to say, but we have 1 member on top of white. It's Inrio, a player inside the attic of Goyo of Giddy. Whitlock goes down first to Inrio, who maybe just looks like Whitlock may have jumped into white and seen check that fight. Unfortunately, though, Inrio is ready and waiting. Carnage with a great one onto Inrio, though, try to good refrag. Now member in attic, member in kids to come next for LiViD.
That's really important because the past 2 rounds, IF have managed to get that opening frag, usually late in the round, but this time a lot earlier, and it's gone unanswered by LiViD. This time, thanks to Carr, they managed to find one. On top of that, a C4 sends out from Arrow, who's been lethal with them so far. It's shot by Mikey, even though it might not have gone far enough to actually land the kill onto the Zofia, and there's the pinch we needed to see from LiViD. They take down Arrow from up top. Subarctic sprints right into the arms of Karn. A much better setup overall, not only from LiViD, but also some misplays by IF, a lack of intel at that is giving LiViD even more of an advantage than they initially had. Giddy and Vivid both down below. The Goyo is out of his C4, but Vivid still has 3 toxic canisters. With 40 seconds left, he could waste a hell of a lot of time. Once the attackers start making their way to the site, he's in prime position to do so.
Well, Indy's gonna get that diffuser down, and the smoke cannons come out, stopping Indy from getting it down. So at this point, you see that kind of play, and Giddy in a great position to deny Mikey from getting a flank onto Vivid, because Vivid's the one stopping the plants. He's playing a great position here in split, denying the push into kitchen with those smoke canisters. Giddy playing as well, trying to deny them pushing him, but so far Giddy's gone down to a grenade, so now it's on to Vivid in a 1v3. Zeno finishes him off, and Vivid will take their first attacking round here on Oregon.
It's a much stronger round by LiViD overall, in that there was a lot more of a statement in the early round than there was by LiViD in the first couple rounds. It was almost similar to what we saw from Wichita in that very first round on Bank. We saw them get their map control. I'm talking about the first 2 rounds from LiViD. We saw them get their saw them get their map control early on. They got everything they needed, but it was transitioning onto the site that was the problem. When they actually tried to make their way down, they ended up losing quite a few bodies on the entry, just like Wichita did in that very first round. But in that third round, Benny, not only did they manage to land the trade onto Inrio, which was critically important for them taking and gaining map control on that top floor, but it was an expert clear of Arrow as well, not only taking out that C4, but you had 1 player come attic, 2 players come in through to the single door, and he was a goner. The one big player who could have stopped things was Giddy on those freezer stairs as he had gone unread. Because sure, Vivid has those smoke canisters, but you can counter them and bait out that utility with a smoke all the way on the opposite side of site. They have the manpower to do so. But the moment they took down Giddy on those stairs, compensating for the lack of intel that got Mikey killed, that was LiVid's obviously strongest round so far. It's the only one they won, but a good indicator for learning from the mistakes that they suffered from in the previous 2 rounds.
I think a big thing too as well the fact that you saw Arrow trying to hold his life and kids, and he tried to leave at the second there, but it's surprising that Giddy left Attic so early and wasn't able to really aid Arrow whatsoever. And kids, hard to say. Maybe it was a call just to drop down, and maybe Arrow should have dropped down earlier too to save his life. Hard to say, but we go on to our basement site here for IF once more, and we'll see what LiViD has stored up this time. Because last time they tried to go for that freezer laundry take, and it wasn't quite synchronized enough, allowing Arrow to deny that freezer take entirely with a 3K, leaving just Carnage be Indy on that laundry take to try and do a 2-man push into site.
Yeah, it was a bit of a fumble on clearing out the utility coming out from IF's defense. Both of Xeno's nades were caught by my discs, and Arrow was allowed to stay inside there. And not only that, but get a C4 kill on to the incoming Yana as well. Now here, this go around, LiViD are not starting out in small tower and working their way west to east like they did last time. They are immediately starting out over by big tower. Mikey making his way on that second floor. A Yana clone going down as well to try to see if anybody's playing aggressive on those stairs. And now seeing if they want to go and make some headway into security, open up that hatch as well to see if it's clear. Right now, there is nobody there. That first floor is clear, but there are players playing directly down below who, knowing Inrio, won't shy away from getting aggressive in that position if he feels he needs to call for it.
Yep, ready and waiting in the pocket by Pillar to take a fight, destroys Gemini Replicator, and yeah, so far IF have really tendency, they haven't really had any crazy plays, and mostly playing towards the chest, like you said, playing those disciplined strats that they know how to do and sticking to it, which is good to see. Hard to say so well. It's been effective so far. Well, keeping effective. We'll see if how LiViD can adapt to these. And so far, this big tower push hasn't done so much. Just opening hatches, doing what they need to do to bring the floor as long as time, though, which has been helpful. And that's you talked about. Utility destroying those shields was a problem last time, and what makes it easy? Bring something that can't be caught by Omai or an ADS.
But the problem is, before you trigger it, it can be shot. And right now, there are 2 players all watching that E-box door with anticipation of not just utility, but a drop coming as well, with the frag grenades sending out and concussions as well. They're likely anticipating a drop in the 2 frag grenades signal. Mikey's incoming into Pillar, and it's completely shut down. All three members of that drop fall. Carnage, the 4th, also trying to make something happen. He's not the only one left. Indy has thankfully managed 1 kill in addition of Carnage's as well, but it's still a 2v3. And Karn appears to be stuck with his pistol right now. Yeah, he has to reload. We'll know his position. Hear the sound cue as well that Carnage is compromised right now on 25 HP as well. No nades and 2 Arudi gates trapping him inside of E-box. He literally cannot leave without taking damage. He does have a drone he can thankfully burn, but no, he is literally trapped.
If he tries to leave, he'll die through one of the doors.
And he could try to cut open the wall, but he'll die.
Oh. That's unfortunate. But a big thing
That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Oh my god.
So
that was great.
It was a big tower hatch drop from the side of LiViD. They had no control of elbow though, so the player in elbow still was a threat to that push, and they still hadn't cleared out Pillar either. The pushing on big tower stairs could not keep Inrio contained, so Inrio could deny most of that drop into E-box, except for Karn. Karn gets a kill on 1 player, still drops down, and as you said before, he was stuck. Both the Rooney gates, both laser gates are reactivated, and he's stuck in a corner, no way out of it. So unfortunately, it seems like LiViD, they're starting these strats, they're starting these executes, but they're not really fully getting enough angles, getting enough control to make it work out.
Well, I'm also interested by that call to immediately flood, because Whitlock had only used 1 or 2 of his Rotero drones up until that point. He still had 2 in his pocket. So if they were worried about getting control of bunker, we know that IF put a shield there. He still had drones to take out that shield if they wanted to make a play. They weren't exactly too short on time either. Maybe LiViD are getting a little bit what's what I'm looking for? Antsy, a little bit preemptive. Yeah. Going a bit too early, what have you, because they still had utility. I don't know, but whatever it was, IF 3-1-1, they'll be able to move back up to dorms. But if you want to talk about Benny as well, maybe making a call, but not so much early, but just making a call that you got to stick with. They tried to make the call to run up white and get the plant down inside of games. When Indy died, that fell onto Xeno, but it seemed like they lacked the coverage to make that call with the new situation that presented itself.
It seems like a control again, lack of control to really make that work. Mikey has the window control, sure, but it's only so much you can see from that window. There was nobody really. There was one player, big window, sure as well, but you can only control so much. I just didn't know why maybe Indy didn't have the diffusion and he walking through the game's opening into sight and go for the plant rather than person in white doing it. Hard to say. I don't know what's going through the heads of LiViD. I'm just seeing from a retrospective view of hindsight 2020.
True.
So let's see what they do this time. And of course, the first step again, like always, opening up that games wall into games from Master. They're gonna walk through. Mikey looking for any kills, trying to find a pick on somebody early, but nobody from Investigation Files is giving that headway to Mikey. And so far, it's kind of the big thing talked before is the opening pick, and nobody from Investigation Files is giving it really to LiViD.
Well, and on top of that, you talk about IF not really giving that opening pick. There was a situation where in this round that Mikey could have been the opening pick and not Indy. Since nobody actually contested Attic all that much, a C4 flew over that wall into Trophy, and thankfully went through the bedroom doorway in between Mikey and the person outside on the balcony, and it only did a little bit of damage to Mikey. Now you can see he is a lot more aware of the potential C4 coming from that area, so we won't likely see that same play from IF be successful now that Mikey is aware of what could come sailing over that wall. We'll also see the same play from LiViD, opening out that bedroom wall with the Hibana. They're also aware of the Cade playing close, and this could be a difficult position for Vivid to continue playing. He'll try to get aggressive on that Hibana. Thankfully, Indy's not peeking. He can rotate back in safely. LiViD have also rotated over to Attic. They're actually opening the wall in that area, minimizing potential for play over there. In terms of bases covered, Benny, this is a lot better for LiViD than their previous attempt at dorms.
Well, so far it seems like let's stick it to what works. The Attic games push has been proven so many times, so they're going back to it. Whether or not they can take control of Attic, though, will be the start here for them, because even though they're going for the play that works, and the Florian working perfectly to deal with that shield inside a swamp, or pit, this should be a good angle for them to push, and they should push through. They see one-sided games like Kaid, they'll shoot the replicator, and while Indy tries to play off the general replicator, Vivid's still ready and waiting for it. So down goes Indy, diffuser stuck inside of running closet, and Arrow takes some shots from Mikey playing the angle, and so far his Attic play hasn't worked out so far. Sees the foot, gets the kill, there it is. Zeno downs Vivid, gets that refrag, and with only 30 seconds left to go, can they still make it work out?
That's the question. They have this Attic control. They can try and cut off the players by big window from this master bedroom side of the area. Karn as well, sitting on that window directly, can see if anybody tries to rotate over. But right now, it's not working. Giddy manages to find Whitlock and retakes Attic. That is huge for getting this angle and catching Zeno rotating off. Both a C4 and a toxic canister landed at his feet, but somehow neither managed to find him. In fact, Zeno gets 2 kills for himself. Both Subarctic and Inrio down.
Oh!
But IF wins! A 1v1, Karn on the floor, so effectively a 1v0. Giddy can easily defuse the bomb. He secured IF at the very least a 4-2 half. Zeno did his best in that round for LiViD overall. But IF, they land the retake with utility and gun skill, all of it firing on all cylinders.
That was a rush of kills that I did not expect to go in the way of IF there. That was LiViD. They get the plant down. They have the manpower and the coverage to do it. But because so you saw the C4, you saw the smoke canister where it was late from the side of IF, and they get the plant down, they get that post plant, but IF still able to make the work, still to get the kills they needed to make that retake work. And I think the big thing was the fact that in the beginning they still suffered so many casualties in the beginning of the that execute from the side of LiViD, and they really didn't have the full control of Attic they needed to make that work out. Because you saw them retake Attic in that chaos.
Yeah, that retake into Attic, I believe it was Giddy able to... Oh, yeah, it was Giddy. I thought Vivid was on the smoke for a second, but Giddy able to find that kill onto Whitlock, retakes that spot. That is massive for IF's overall chances in that round. But you also hit a point that I want to touch on as well early on. Losing Indy once again on a Dorm's attack. He was the one with the bomb again. Now Zeno has to pick up the pieces, and he manages to get that kill. But Vivid still managed to play close to the breach with it open, with players inside of Trophy as well, and with everyone from LiViD able to cover all these positions, still played there for so long, and it took Zeno winning that 1v1 to actually maneuver into an execute. It still goes to show that IF, not only are they not giving away opening picks like you said earlier, Benny, but they're waiting for LiViD, and it's LiViD that are giving them away. And in the case of Dorms, both of them were onto Indy when he tried to move into the site.
Yeah, it's been difficult. I feel bad for Indy, but it's been difficult for LiViD, and as it's on Investigation Files. They're playing so well, and kind of on LiViD too, to not know where to get that first pick, to get that first start in their execute to really snowball into a win here. Because now we're 4-1 in the favor of Investigation Files, on to the last round of the half, and we go to that tertiary site again. And once again, it was that kind of this is the where investigation files lost their first round, and where LiViD can make it a 4-2 half as you expect on Oregon defense, really. But the big thing here was that roam clear. The roam clear worked out so well for LiViD.
It worked extremely well. They did not land the opening pick. It was still Inrio who managed to find Whitlock as the first frag in the round. But they managed to trade and get the refrag. That was the most important part. And then they got Arrow as well as he was trying to rotate back. So I suppose I was going to say as opposed to the previous trends, but they did still give away the frag in that position. There was actually some recovery that managed to work. And last round, they might have recovered a little bit, but IF still were in a position to retake. This meeting hall attack was just a lot better in every single facet from LiViD. If they win it, it's a 2-4 half. Not at all that terrible on Oregon, and it'll be a good momentum booster going into the second half as well if you're coming off a win.
Well, let's see how they do this time. And it was, last time it was Whitlock go down to Inrio playing White Stairs. But members like Mikey and Indy played a great role in dealing with members upstairs of Arrow. Giddy was up there with Arrow last time, but Giddy dropped down early, which kind of put Arrow in a, Arrow tried to play his life in kids, which may have not been the great choice because there was an exit down that hatch back into kitchen. Unfortunately, he didn't take it, quickly enough, and he gets his life taken that time. So let's see how it works out this time. Inrio's still playing the White Stairs. Looks like he was trying to jump out White Stairs, a white window onto somebody, but nobody was there this time. Whitlock wasn't there, waiting to get killed out, and now they're joining upstairs, figure out what's going on, figure who's playing that top floor. And the question is somebody going to help out Arrow and kids, or are they both going to abandon it early?
Well, that is the question. Also, something that we haven't talked about all that much, Mehdi. You don't want to harp on a player, but Mikey, he's picked up on this roster, believed to be one of the more aggressive players, somebody who could be the entry that LiViD need. Right now, he has 0 kills. Whitlock as well is also dropping a donut as well. He's on the flex, so he's not going to be on the same front lines as Mikey, but one reason that LiViD might be struggling to get things started on that entry is because, their primary entry is not doing, or primary or secondary entry, however you want to phrase it, I don't know which actually, is not doing the best. Well, not an entry. That's about the easiest kill that Karn has ever gotten in the history of his career. In Rio, just directly in front of big window. Yeah, that's just like, what can you do at that point?
Unfortunate for Inrio, just didn't. I think he's holding an angle on somebody coming up freezer stairs because I believe he was given intel that Whitlock is from below. But unfortunately, he doesn't know that, Carnage is on the big window ready to kill him. So again, we start off here, and I believe Giddy and Arrow have left this time, so they're not playing for their lives. They've given up that top floor early, especially because Inrio is dead. They don't want to do it. And Whitlock goes down to Arrow, playing downstairs, actually. So Arrow went for a flank down those laundry stairs to get that kill. Great job from Arrow to get that refrag. Now in a 4v4 with him down to the last minute. And now Mikey, the rest of LiViD have the top floor now. They can go to work, but they don't have like a dedicated soft breacher though. So they just kind of have to drop down, and nobody's in the kitchen though. But still, the smokes from last time were the big thing for Vivid to stop them planting.
Yeah, that's sort of the issue. We're still wondering what type of execute LiViD are going for. They'll now start rotating over to meeting, but Indy's still the one with the diffuser getting this final bit of intel. Maybe they are rotating over, but they don't really have enough for either. I don't believe they've opened up that meeting wall, either the top or the bottom one, or specifically the bottom one. Xeno will try to go for some roam clear downstairs, but clearly lacks the intel, or maybe it was just poor timing, what have you. Arrow manages to pick up that kill, and now they'll have to completely rotate over to meeting, and they're running face first into a clash. Both impact lifelines used, but no capitalization onto Subarctic. This looks like a lost round from LiViD. Nothing going, no type of an execute in sight. Mikey will find his first kill of the round, but IF have likely found their 5th round and will secure a 5-1 half on Oregon. Mikey will start to get the bomb down, and there we go. The smoke canisters take away all the life in him, and IF, they are dominantly in the lead going into the second half.
Yeah, unfortunate for LiViD. They had the clear they needed. They got the first pick they wanted, but in the end, they really couldn't take that control and make it into an execute. Especially now that Arrow's downstairs running around, and Whitlock gets picked off behind to get that refrag, and then Arrow goes to big tower, and they're not aware of his presence. They didn't have the drone and intel necessary to know that Arrow was still roaming downstairs, and walks down there. Xeno gets picked off unaware of his presence, and they're kind of gated into a jump right into kitchen, and the members of investigation files are ready for it. So unfortunate for LiViD. Just again, time is the big thing here for them, and just understanding what the unified goal is. We go into the defense for investigate files. They only need 2 rounds to close this out as they go downstairs to laundry and supply. That's sort of the big issue there, is that both of the first 2 kills that LiViD suffered were all on somebody solo clearing downstairs. One a bit more deep into the basement than the other. Whitlock was basically dead center inside a basement, whereas
Zeno was just taking a peek to see what was going on, but there was no ability for LiViD to get the refrag. So that was just insult to injury at that point. Was to use this word again, a hectic and haphazard execute from LiViD. Moving to the defense, sure it's a 5-1 half, sure it's Oregon defense, but it's still been overall coordination that LiViD has seemed to struggle with and getting things going, whereas IF, they've been able to set the pace. Maybe they'll have a bit more issues on their attack where you have to make that ground happen instead of waiting for the other side to come to you. We'll just have to see. But again, Benny, we can wait and see, but IF just have to win 2 more rounds.
Yeah,
that's all they need to do.
We go into talk about what is Investigation Files now back to the quick plays they were when they were SH, because we saw last stage late registration was a very slow attacking team. They were methodical and structured, but they were very slow on taking control, very slow on making those first bit of plays. And with Inrio now on team and Subarctic, that could change. They could be much faster taken. As we'll see far, Inrio, that first person in, is he being droned in? Or are they doing the basics here for Investigation Files? Doesn't seem like, because it looks like Inrio's droning himself in. Hard to say.
Well, there's a drone in front of Subarctic at least, so neither of the entries are entirely without intel. But that was a point brought up on the desk cookies, is that obviously old SH Stage 1, when Inrio was on that roster, still a bit of a slower team, not nearly as slowly registration, but adding Subarctic, he's a very slow player as well. So it's a valid question going into this. Sure, it might be a 5-1 half for IF, but this is a roster where many people are worried that they will be an incredibly slow attacking team, struggle to get things going, maybe not in the same vein, but in just the same effect as we just saw from LiViD. Either way, tough to see just yet, as nobody from LiViD is actively contesting the map control or that first floor. All downstairs right now, all holding Freezer and Pillar. IF are completely free to get all the control they want. Opening Freezer, opening that laundry hatch. But now with that Yana clone coming out and that Freezer hatch opening up, they can finally start to make some movement down into that basement.
I guess the question is, what is Investigation Files going to focus on? And why is Subarctic going upstairs? I guess they haven't drawn the top floor.
Just curious. Just, be like, hey!
I guess
hey!
so.
Anybody over there? There's nobody there.
Yeah, so let's see. Looks like they're focusing. Look at they're trying to do a Freezer laundry take, or at least they're droning it for the moment. But with the last minute up to go right now, they haven't really figured out what they're going to do. They didn't bring in Flores, so I don't know how well they're going to do trying to clear out Elbow and deny LiViD from using that against them. But so far, I definitely question what Investigation Files is really doing here.
Yeah, they are bringing that Twitch. They have the smokes, and maybe the big problem was Burn, but Thermite has smokes, and if you want to bring that Flores, he has flashbangs as well, so the same utility in the end. But what have you, won't question it just yet. We need to see if they can actually manage and execute, and so far, Arrow with the opening pick, doing amazing so far. He started things off on a good note for IF trying to make their way to that first floor. They've also managed to start clearing out Bunker, but Zeno takes one away as he starts to rotate back. That's Subarctic, the player we were worried about getting things started. He's the first death and the first kill for LiViD on their first defensive round. Carnage as well. 2 smokes utilized to try and burn away the remaining 20 seconds. A kill as well onto Giddy. They're trying to get things picked up, but it's reliant on frags to get this momentum. Inrio's managed to find one, make his way into sight. Just narrowly spots Carnage behind the shield. Isn't able to land the shots. Whitlock on the floor. He gets 1. He gets 2. Manages to make it work. Arrow will spot him on the floor, but oh no! Spots him at the right second, but looks away. Second guesses himself with the pistol. Whitlock gets his first 3 kills of the game, and LiViD their first round as well.
And yeah, just like in the same vein we talked about, that time is the issue, and they finally did, unify into making a pillar take into a big tower take, to pushing into supply, but they never cleared out Elbow. You saw Karn playing that well, smoking out, and they couldn't push it. They did smoke it so Karn couldn't fight back, but it still denies them really any over coverage, any of the more control that they need. And cleared out pillar, they push on the site, but they never cleared Freezer, allowing for Whitlock to sit there, lying down, waiting for the push in the last 30 seconds. Members, Inrio gets the first pick, gets a great kill onto the Rooney, but it's only they're just slowly getting picks. It looks like Subarctic was trying to make, a late flank down laundry stairs, but they were ready for it. Subarctic goes down, and there really was just a one-sided push at that point.
And we mentioned how if you really wanted to try to make that clear of Elbow come a lot quicker and a lot cleaner for IF, should have brought the Flores. Has those flashbangs, you can switch the Thermite to the smokes, and you have those Rotero drones, most importantly, to clear out those shields. Giddy teased it for just a second, said, hey, I might bring it, but then he switched to the sledge. it is understandable. While the Flores is really good, he can sometimes kind of pigeonhole you into certain takes. It does take a little bit of time as well. Why not bring a set of nades, combine your utility with Subarctic to take out those Goyo shields and that shield in the hands of Carnage? Plus, with everyone on LiViD likely looking at those doorways, no mute in play, but the Rotero drones can sometimes be vulnerable, especially to get into the spots where these shields can sometimes be placed on dorms. Sure, it might not be the most direct utility like Flores is, but it's still enough to try to make things work. Better than the Twitch, anyway.
Well, now let's see how it goes here for investigation files. We go to the top floor defense for LiViD, and there is a big tower roam from the side of LiViD. Mikey on the top floor of big tower. Jones getting shot out immediately, so they already know he's up here, and looks like investigation files is going to take the time to try and deal with Mikey, but that's kind of the point of why he's up there, is take time. Walks by in Rio's sight, he's still up there, pings come out. How long will it take them to deal with Mikey here? There's also play below him. I believe Indy on the Goyo is trying to help him out and play below, and Mikey's just destroying drones left and right. And that's kind of the biggest thing. Just intel here is getting shot out by Mikey playing this position.
This is sometimes the issue with Big Tower. You want to get aggressive. You want to start peeking in that window, but with how many windows are all looking in this very small area, you're going to lose a lot of health if the attackers are watching. But I say that, Enrio actually was not walking and tried to throw a drone at exactly the wrong time. Mikey as well, sure, he's low HP, but a big point here, he's wasting grenades. Those 2 nades from Subarctic are now gone. They've not found any kills onto the players of LiViD, and Mikey is wasting utility by sheer existence. The second Zofia concussion goes as well, and he almost gets away scot-free. But there's Arrow, the big player watching this. Mikey very narrowly got away. Those 3 players from IF watching up top, they watch him, but it was Arrow watching him rotate down below who gets the opening pick. That roam still wasted a lot of utility thanks to Mikey.
Drones, utility, grenades, concussions, all wasted to do this, but it gives give a free entry into into attic for investigation files. And Indy gets away. He does waste C4 in that position as well, but now the question is, can they fully turn this into an execute in the last minute? They have control attic, so someone's now going to rotate over to probably to games, open that wall up, or if they want to go from trophy side, from armory side and push through. Let's see what happens. But the members from LiViD at this point are all waiting on site for this push to happen. They're all waiting with clean eyes, with C4s ready in their hands and smoke canisters to deny the push in the last 40 seconds.
They certainly have the utility to do so. Sure, that attic wall might be open, and, well, Giddy will manage to land one of his frag grenades onto Carnage, that smoke, who, with the low time, those smoke canisters would have been brutal for IF to try to push on through. Him being gone in the 3v5 as well, a lot easier. Xeno also spotted on that breach. Sure, it's low time, and Vivid, he has to somehow manage to open up that bedroom wall. In fact, I think he might just say screw it and try to transition to something else, but it's still low enough man count where if they just flood the site and they get their trades, they can send themselves to match point. David will start making his way on through. They spot Xeno, but at the wrong time. He gets 3, but it's still IF to make things happen. A 1v1 now after Whitlock's kill on Arrow. He'll try to land the pre-fire, but it's Whitlock to pre-fire instead. 2 rounds in a row for LiViD. A lot closer than I think the defense wanted it to be, but it's still a round win, and they'll stay alive for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, that was chaos on site, but a big part of that beginning was it's a big part is Mikey stayed alive for not the longest time, but he wasted drones, wasted utility, and made them just take the time to deal with him on the top floor, T3 of tower. So still great job from Mikey, and they were able to, they got pretty far. Carnage able to get killed below by grenade was big, so they didn't have the smoke canister to deny a plant, but rushing onto site, they didn't have time. They didn't know, like you saw from them, Xeno was just lying down by the game's table, and Mikey trying to walk up white stairs, doesn't know, he loses the fight. When Xeno gets up, shoots the other player in the face coming from trophy. So it's just, again, intel is the issue when it comes to those dying seconds for investigation files.
And then on top of that, so much time being wasted early on. Xeno's able to go prone in that position because Vivid was never able to open up that bedroom wall. And he was never really able to open up the bedroom wall because of how much time IF spent trying to clear out Mikey. You saw him put that exothermic on the floor. I thought he was going to open it up. But they realized, hey, maybe we just don't have enough time, or we don't have the positioning to try to make that angle work, because since he's putting it on the floor, we're never able to clear out that cage charge. Somebody's got to either go on the rappel outside or go prone to watch that angle. And either way, everything that happened allowed Xeno to play in that spot and allowed him to get those 2 kills that put it down to a 1v1 in the end. So for IF, it's just getting so caught up with Mikey. It's a bit unfortunate, but now LiViD, they've got the room they need. If they win this tertiary bomb side, not only is it a 5-4, they'll deny match point from IF for just a little bit longer, but most importantly, they will have won all 3 bomb sites on the defense. And now, if you're IF, what the hell do you do?
Yeah, it's interesting too because I'm not sure if they'd open the floor, if the defense opened the floor, but the floor is open below the Kai, below the Electroclaw on that game's wall. But again, the time was so short that nobody from Investigation File tried to go downstairs to the classroom to destroy that Electroclaw. So it's just unfortunate for them. We go on to, as I said before, going to that tertiary site, not kitchen and meeting though. We're going to kitchen and dining. I bet Mikey's gonna do it. No, he's not playing a 3-speed. Never mind.
No Rooney though, so we can do some site setup. He's got the Rooney as well.
He can't make the run though.
Yeah, that's true. But we have not seen a dining kitchen defense in a while. Normally the setup that we would used to see was you'd have a Maestro playing inside of showers. That little bit of the hole that Mikey opened up, he would impact trick that wall when they would try to open him up. So we might see Zeno play there and go for a similar play. But obviously with LiViD, not bringing that setup, the Rooney as well, it does make things a little bit easier. You have those gates that can not only force the attackers to waste some more utility burning those gates, but they're also still enough secondary utility where if they wanted to go for a similar setup, I'm sure they could. And in fact, I think LiViD are. They'll just have a little bit less utility than what the strat used to be.
Yeah, listen, usually we've seen teams play small tower and try to use shields to make it difficult for, for Investigation File to take control of small tower. Nobody from LiViD's playing there, so there should be no problem for IF to get started and open up this floor above kitchen, or above dining, I mean, not kitchen, above dining, and maybe even start a strat, because they can just open the wall up, maybe go for a plant. Hard to say, but there are members on the side of LiViD who are playing by that, by that dorm side at the moment.
Ooh.
And Subartix gets shot. Looks like they know one's in shower because this gentleman kid gets shot from the side. And Indra is going to go to work with those breach charges and open the floor up, see if you can find anybody playing close on this wall from small tower into dining. But nobody's there for the moment. So they're all playing by kitchen, by shower for the moment.
That's a really nice play from Zeno. He went prone at that wall because Subarctic, with those Renegades as Yana, he can easily burn them. But by shooting that clone, that Renegade can stand for dozens of seconds longer than it would have otherwise. So really good play by Zeno, indicating how well practiced this position is. And with those impact grenades as well, sure, there's a Maverick, so he can just open up holes in that wall. If they ever try to land a Thermite on it, it'll be problematic. But Zeno, realizing his tenuous position, he says, you know what? I'm going to make a play. I got to make the most of this. And he finds Arrow on that Maverick. There is still one hard breacher, VIVID, on the side of IF. That was one of their only sets of nades. Subarctic now only has one left, and your top performer of Arrow is now gone.
That's not looking good when it comes to utility, but the thing is now they can open up this dining wall with no issue though, and the question is, how is LiViD going to deny the push into site? They still, of course, still have the smoke canisters. Actually, no, they didn't bring smoke, so there's no smoke canisters. They have the Yokais though, I mean. They're trying to deny the push and give intel on this play, and it's Carnage basketball to play from kitchen and try and take long-range fights with that MP5 SD. Members of LiViD are trying to take control, try to come back towards site, knowing that the members of Investigation Files are coming through close. There it is, Inrio and another player. Giddy gets one, Indy goes down. Here's Whitlock trying to take control. Unfortunately, he cannot deny the push, and he falls back to White Stairs.
And that was very risky, very important that Whitlock got away as well. I admire trying to go for the play, but the moment Indy died, yeah, he had to get the hell out of Dodge. But Carnage able to land a half-court shot onto Inrio, takes his head off, but it won't stop IF from getting the bomb down. Might be 3v3, and one member of IF might be low on health. But now that the bomb's down, things are a lot easier. I made that statement before VIVID died, but thankfully Subarctic is there to try to minimize any potential ground gained by LiViD. Almost a flick by Mikey, but it's still a second shot for Subarctic. Mikey, the new pickup of LiViD, leaving Lenny GG. He's got to have the biggest impact so far. It's not been there too much in this game. He spots Giddy getting up off the floor. Subarctic, the last one left. He's inside a shower. He knows where the diffuser is, so he can solely focus on Subarctic. With time moving down, with the shots fired, he's got to make a play. He's got to do it now. Spots him right as he puts his gun away. Tries to switch to the pistol. It might be faster than reloading, but you're not faster than Mikey. He'll land the defuse for a 5-4 LiViD.
Oh, and that's why it is difficult to hold that site, because you can just walk on site and plants, but not in front of Mikey. He saves it once again in that post plant, taking fight after fight, 1v1 after 1v1, and wins every single one to take that site. But the beginning of that was just, again, that's why it's difficult to hold the site, because they take control showers. They denied the push. They pretty much took control of showers, took control of dining themselves. got the plant down, though it was costly for them to do it. You saw members from LiViD try to get aggressive and try and deal fights. You saw Giddy take the control, take out Indy, who was walking down the bathroom hall. Whitlock again tried to aggress too, but they're ready and waiting it for on the side of Investigation Files. It really came down to that hero play from Mikey, though, to win that out. I could have been match point for Investigation File.
And 5-3 is that sort of scoreline where, like, look at the opposites of it. If you're the team that's on 3, if you lose that round, it is 6-3. You need 3 rounds to secure overtime. But if you just win the round, 5-4 not only just is objectively a lot closer than 6-3, but it just looks a lot closer of a game. It can do a lot for a team's momentum just by winning that sort of, I guess, fulcrum round count, if you want to call it that. Now they've won all 3 sides, Benny. They can rotate back on down. And the big issue here, Arrow managed to get the opening pick onto Indy, but IF, they struggled to clear out bunker. Both utility and kills were got there by Karn. Didn't really clear out freezer all that much. Didn't clear out the back of site either. They got a lot of room inside of pillar, but that was really about it for IF in that round. They also, by struggling to clear out bunker, recommended they bring a Flores. They're not doing that, Benny. The Giddy is on the Ying. That's a bit of a different sort of clear than I think what you and I had in mind.
Well, it kind of, paints the picture that they're going for maybe a laundry and freezer take. That's usually why you bring the Ying, the smokes in hand to, cut off lines of sight and make it easy to walk into laundry or to push freezer as well. Because you saw how difficult freezer was to take. So this time you can make it so you just flash out the members in freezer and push on through. And also you can smoke out the players who may be taking long range fights from laundry side from that corner that rotates. So let's see what happens here. And we'll see what they drone out. And there actually is a member. It looks like there's a member on the side of LiViD playing on a roam. It's Mikey here on the top of white. So this time, LiViD's actually playing aggressive on this defense site.
Is there the requisite support for Mikey, though? There are a couple players down below, and he too will even start rotating down to that first floor. The Rooney gate right there can now be shot. So they will have to burn some projectiles, but Mikey doesn't want to give away his position. The drone, exactly, Benny. It did not see him. So by shooting that Aruna gate, he might put a barricade between himself and the attackers, but he would give away his position. This is much more favorable. If IF start to make their way forward, they're likely aware of Xeno and Indy's position inside of Kitchen and Freezer respectively, but no, now he has to rotate off. Subarctic will fire some shots, but Mikey gets away successfully, and a lot of time wasted by LiViD.
Yeah, half the round's gone, and now looks like Inrio's upstairs trying to open holes on the member of Xeno who's playing security. I don't know if Xeno's able to get away, but looks like Mikey's taking fights. Indy comes back down. I believe Xeno's still running back. He's running back to Big Tower upstairs because now, at this point, LiViD have done their jobs. They've wasted more than half the round, wasted utility on the side of Investigation Files. Xeno puts down one of his last Banshee on the floor inside of E-Box, and now we have to see Investigation Files take control and actually convert this into an execute with the time running out.
IF will burn the Aruni gate, I should say, closest to the site, so they can start to make their way through E-Box if they want. But right now, they'll make a play into Freezer. But Benny, it's 50 seconds left, and have they even entered Freezer yet in this round? I don't think they have. Have they opened up the hatch? Yes, they have. But what have they burned? Barbed wire still up, ADSs as well. Enrio's trying to do his best to burn all this utility still in his way, but in Shield, watching Freezer as well. This will be extremely difficult for LiViD or for IF to deal with. But Subarctic coming down late, he manages to find Indy. It's massive for IF since they're staking so much of their claim on Freezer. If those nades missed, like we saw LiViD do a couple times on their attack, that would be brutal for them to deal with. But Enrio and Subarctic can start making their way up even easier now that Subarctic, the new pickup, has managed to find Mikey. Whitlock, he'll refrag onto Enrio, so it's a lower man count than IF initially wanted, but it's all going their way so far until Giddy sprints on through, is looking the complete opposite way from LiViD. LiViD on low HP as well. It's Karn and the Thermite in a 1v1. The two supports, he looks the wrong way, close with the shotgun. Carnage will win that every time. LiViD have tied it up 5-5, coming from a 5-1 half at the round, or at the half swap.
Oh my god, and unfortunate for IF, but still great job from LiViD to waste as much time. He had members of security, and Mike, just as Xeno was in security, Mikey was playing white stairs, and again, IF, just like he saw in the same vein from last stage, it takes so long to clear them out. They drone them out, they don't push with the drones, and nobody gets killed all the members on the roam allowed to come back to site with no damage and half the round gone. And utility wasted to try and get them. Drones wasted to figure out where they were. They try and push that into a site, and really, they were getting kills. That grenade you saw in the Indy was great. Kills on members inside of site, like Mikey going down, was great from the side investigation files. But in those dying moments, a misplaced smoke allowed for the members on the side of LiViD to kill Giddy, who was rushing into site with the aid of the Candelas. They only pushed the smoke in the middle of site, so the members who were playing, that rotate inside of site were able to see Giddy running in. And the members of still in the hallway, they were still able to see the members inside of the freezer who were trying to push through from side of investigation files. So unfortunately, just some misplaced utility from the side of investigation files. But still, also time wasted from LiViD was so crucial.
In talking about time wasting, Benny, if you look, LiViD aren't going dorms. They have the option to. It's available, but instead they'll go to the meeting hall and kitchen site, what is usually the tertiary bomb site for many teams. But a lot of their success on dorms came from Mikey sitting inside a big tower, wasting 2 of the 4 nades brought by IF, an incalculable amount of flashbangs and utility as well, and on top of that, a minute and a half of time, and it still came down to a 1v1 that Whitlock very narrowly lost. I say all that, Mikey's still in big tower, so that entire point was completely useless because he's just sitting in there again. But it does mean that if he plays his cards right, he could burn that same amount of utility. He's even getting far more aggressive against Subarctic on this rappel, who is likely nervous to try and fight Mikey, especially after the latter's 1v3 clutch earlier.
Well, it looks like they're trying to find a shot. Inrio playing this a bit more, hawkish this time because he saw Inrio saw Mikey run across this window multiple times. He could have killed him in that round during dorms, but looks like Mikey this time, as you said before, he's trying to get a pick off. He's trying to get not only waste time, but also get a pick compared to the other time he was playing the section. Flashed out, concussed, he can't see anything. Subarctic finishes him off. Vivid one of his own on the Indy. Wow. 2 beginning kills to really put investigation files to get that match point.
And that's the issue right there. If you put Mikey in Big Tower a second time, surely IF are going to be able to clear him out a little bit more effectively. Still took 1 minute and 10 seconds, but it was a lot more decisive there than it was previously. But on top of that, Indy was playing there to support Mikey's position. He did the exact same thing on the dorms round as well, but he gets caught rotating off. You gambled so much on wasting time and utility in that position, and you did. You wasted Subarctic's frag grenades, some flashes as well, and it didn't pay off. So now Whitlock has to get aggressive to try to bring the man count back, and he gets Arrow, one of the only hard breachers on IF.
Great intel too. I wonder if those default cam was still up or how they get the info, but great job from the side of Whitlock to get 1 kill to put them closer to evening it up. But Zeno in a position. Does he get droned? He doesn't. Great job there. Zeno gets the kill on Sub. Misdroning from the side of investigation files has now jeopardized this round that they had such a great step in the beginning minutes. Now we come down to a dying minute here for IF, and then what is the intel? What is the game plan here for them to get this plant down? Inreal's trying to go for a quick link from the back, but they know he's there. They smoked out Split to stop him from pushing through. Have they even opened the wall between Big Tower and Meeting? I don't know.
We hear 1 exothermic used. Is that the one on that meeting wall? I'm sure it is for the execute they're going for, but with Vivid still up top, Inrio could be a big player here trying to shut down anybody southern side by main lobby. But another situation where IF, you need to make something happen. It's not going your way. Zeno finds Vivid, but Giddy's thankfully there for the trade onto Whitlock. Enrio makes his way on in. Do LiViD know about this? 3 seconds left. He's got to find these kills. He's got to find him now, but the bomb's not going down! They dropped the fuser upstairs. They weren't able to pick it back up. I didn't even realize, and clearly IF didn't either. LiViD, they've won 5 rounds in a row. They're the ones on match point.
So did Vivid push upstairs then and try and deal Zeno? That's probably what happened.
I saw Vivid and Giddy were upstairs. I think you're right. It's likely they pushed upstairs, but Zeno unfortunately took him down. Giddy as well, he got the trade, but I don't know what happened. I guess the diffuser was dropped and maybe Giddy pushed on down. I didn't see Giddy's position, unfortunately, so I can't say entirely what happened, but I know that diffuser was still inside of Attic.
Because that was a 2v2 in the last minute because they got that refrag. So if they could have gone for a plant, but the issue was Inrio was so far away that there was no coverage for Giddy to even go for a plant. And the members from LiViD were sprawling around that diffuser, trying to stop them pushing through. So I'm not sure even if Giddy had the diffuser, could he have gone for a plant. Hard to say, but we didn't really see it happen anyway. So it's just a what if at that point. But unfortunate for Investigation Files, they had such a great start to the round. They denied Mikey. They killed Indy. They had a great start to countering that play that wastes so much time in that Dorm's play. But then they go from there and they don't take charge. Whitlock won. They had intel on members in Big Tower. I don't know if it was a default cam or what it was, but Whitlock was a great shot to get that kill. Xeno, a missed drone inside of Attic, playing on a softwall, kills Subarctic. In that point, all of their plans for Investigation Files just goes out the window.
Now, also, I'm intrigued here, Benny. It was both dorms and meeting now where they put Mikey inside a big tower and then Indy one floor below covering him. Yep. Okay. I was about to ask, so I'll answer my own question. Doesn't appear they're going for that same play. I think that's good because it worked the first time, bought them a lot of time, kind of worked the second time, but it really was incumbent on IF losing a lot of that ground and also not droning out Xeno on that top floor. Now here, no need to do it a third time. IF, if they cleared it out in a minute, 10 seconds, they'll likely clear it out in 40 if you went for it a second time. So I like this move by LiViD to move a little bit closer. They do still have one outside the site, inside of Armory, but not nearly to the same extent as their previous setup between Mikey and Indy.
Oh, so yeah, there's no real way for them to waste as much time because they're not playing towers. So the question is, should Investigation Files have a much easier time taking control and, converting it into an execute? They're going to drone out Armory, see if anybody's playing aggressive on Armory, Trophy, Master Bedroom side. And doesn't like anybody's already played. There's actually one player in Armory. It's the Aruni of Whitlock playing close with that Roni. I'm pretty sure they probably droned out Whitlock at this point. They should know he's there. Yep, right there he is. So the question is, how are they going to drive him out of there?
Well, they have nades from Subarctic, the concussions as well. Xeno, a lot more worried about his current standing inside of Armory. And all right, well, never mind. Inrio is just... Talk about the prodigal son returning. What better way for him to make a comeback than try to stop IF losing in regulation with a shot like that? Through the floor, Whitlock is taken down, and Sub can just move on in, start making his way in through here, and no frag grenades wasted as well. A 3v5. Looks like we might have overtime, but Benny, we did just see IF lose a 3v5 previously. Is this just history repeating itself in short order?
Well, Xeno's going to try and get aggressive. Drone seen. Does a drone see Xeno here in Attic? Because now, yeah, like you said before, the members of LiViD now have to get aggressive and bring it back and not allow for Investigation Files to do what they need and create this execute. So the question is, what member of LiViD will pull off? Well, there's a minute left to go too. So even if, I don't know, it depends really. It's hard to say because if they get on the side and start planting, they should be at least deny them with those smoke canisters in dying seconds. And the question is it going to be the same games plan like we've seen from Investigation Files? Xeno gets aggressive. He'll take out Sub, bring it back one more, getting closer and closer.
Well, here's the difference here as well. Because IF were able to get that ground early on, now they can actually open up that bedroom wall, which caused so many problems for them on their dorms execute. Carnage inside of Attic, low HP. He's found by Giddy on big window. All these powerful positions are now slowly falling. Xeno might have gotten one kill on lack of intel by IF, but now he's got to get a lot more on alongside Indy as well. Hero making his way on up, spots the Belusi for just a second. Both exchange some damage, but neither are fatal for either the attacker or defender. LiViD, he's about to get the bomb down. Will he manage it successfully? He makes his way on through! What the hell are you doing, Xeno? How did that manage to work? LiViD manages to finish him off. It's overtime for IF. That was incredibly scary, and if LiViD had actually planted in that spot, it might be a regulation win for Xeno.
I think he thought that was the person planting in the corner by games, and if that had happened, they could have won. Well, I'm not sure. I didn't read the time, but still, that was pretty crazy. And well, the big thing there is, again, that first two picks from the side of Investigation Files once again. This time, it does give him pretty much the round. Xeno gets one more, but still, in the end, they're so far behind. And again, they didn't have any people, any even roaming. They didn't have any one from the side of the LiViD waste time and make it difficult for them to get that execute. So Investigation Files had the time they needed to create the execute, find angles onto these players, and make it happen. So great job from Investigation Files. Tie it up. We go into overtime. But LiViD's on the defense, and it's been a defense-sided so far, or defense at Oregon.
Very defender-sided Oregon. 5-1 half. LiViD getting that advantage. But here, Benny, IF, they're switching to that Flores. This was what we were talking about on this. excuse me, on this basement attack. Switching to those Rotero drones, maybe if you want to keep the smokes that Giddy was bringing on the Twitch, give that to Vivid and roll with this. So it's nice to see IF building on these steps, and if they're trying to make this work, they certainly have a lot of counters to the utility that LiViD are bringing out. The Renegade, Subarctic has overall done a really good job at using his Yana clone to not only get intel, but burn those Renegades so so IF isn't wasting flash grenades or drones or what have you. And with that, Flora is in play as well. Combined with the 4 nades in the hands of Arrow and Subarctic, there is a lot on the table for IF to deal with the setup coming from LiViD. If they compound that with the ability to get those first 2 opening frags, like they've been able to do in the past couple rounds, even though it might be defender-sided, IF have a good shot at still getting the one attacking round they need most.
Well, that's what happens. The big thing last time was the roam game that wasted time. They didn't get any kills, but it still wasted time and caused investigation files to have to really clear that first and second floor. It was, you saw last time, it was Zeno and Mikey who were playing that first floor, really just baiting out drones and wasting time for investigation files. But I don't know if anybody from LiViD is doing that this time. I see someone on, I think I see that big tower hold again from Mikey actually in the distance.
No.
Yeah,
yeah,
see,
there he is.
You can see the silhouette.
There he is. All right. Like I'm watching Butters from yesterday with that kind of play. Just sitting on the Iranian side of Big Tower.
Just ignore him, though.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. IF, they like to go for that Big Tower play. They've done it before, but yeah, that's the thing is they can just cut him off at this position. Indy's obviously trying to help him if Mikey wants to rotate back and also just contest that area inside of Big Tower, but it's going to be difficult for him to rotate back, exactly as you pointed out.
Unless
so
they don't know he's there.
I mean, that is possible. It is an Aruni prone sitting in Big Tower, so might not be at the top of the list for what IF could be anticipating. But who knows? They still have those holes in the meeting wall though, so they can still cut him off.
They could, but if they don't know he's there and it gets to that last minute exit, because we've seen Investigation Files has not been, both teams haven't been the greatest on time. If he waits till the dying seconds and hits that flank at the perfect time, it could be the end of the round right there. Hard to say, but Mikey's now rotated off the top floor. He's just one back there. He's just still waiting because I believe he hasn't been rotated, so he's just waiting for someone maybe to walk up the stairs unaware. But let's see what happens though. As Investigation Files, they're looking to push this Big Tower side, this pillar side, and it does seem like they are aware of his presence given by what Vivid's playing at right now.
Yeah, I highly doubt we would see a Thermite rotate up to Big Tower if they didn't think that somebody might be playing over here. But as you said, neither team has been great on time. A minute left. Not only has it been a long time before they've made their way through, but as I was about to say, yeah, we thought they were going to clear him out. It looks like they're not even aware of Mikey's position. Nobody watching whatsoever. If he's just sitting here, this could be the big play. Spots Vivid for a second, but only just 50 HP. He doesn't manage to land the kill. And now they are definitely aware that there might be an Aruni sitting up on the top floor of Big Tower. But all Mikey has to do is just exist. The threat himself, exactly. It could waste enough time. He'll drop down, vault on over down the stairs. Are they watching? That is the question. There's one at this meeting wall. If they're watching, that could be all of Mikey's impact gone, and yes, it is. Arrow's there to compensate. With smoke canisters left, one more in the hands of Carnage, and only 15 seconds to flood the site. IF is going to have to rely on frags. Thankfully, Arrow's tagged on for 2. Winlock gone as well, and he will try to make some big impact. He's got 2. He's the last one left. It doesn't matter. IF, despite all those factors, the time wasted by Mikey, the utility on the site, they get the frags in large part to Arrow. They're on match point and are just 1 round away from escaping the 5 rounds in a row, I should say, that LiViD just dealt to them a few minutes ago.
I thought Indy was going to end the round there because Indy was playing Harry Potter and nobody knew he was there. But the big thing first of all, we start from the beginning, was IF took forever to clear Mikey out. I don't know if they even knew he was there until the last minute of the round. And the big thing there was the fact that at that point, they had 30 seconds. They had 30 seconds to make the execute happen. 30 seconds. And they run down, they're running through Elbow. They're running down Big Tower stairs. They're pushing, I think someone pushed Freezer as well. I don't know, or Laundry. And they were just trying to flood the site within the last 30 seconds. Indy playing Harry Potter, I thought was huge there because he got 2 kills. He denied them pushing up, but they kill him, and members from LiViD are also running up and trying to get aggressive to stop them pushing in, which I don't know. Again, I don't know if that was the correct position or the correct move. Hard to say, but they tried to push in as well and stop them from flooding the site. And it ends up being Investigation Files to win most of, if all of the fights, except for Indy getting those 2 picks in Harry Potter.
Either way, that was incredible that IF managed to come away with that round. So I'm still a little bit in disbelief at how they managed to come away with that. But now, Benny, that was the one round they needed. Now we're moving to the defense, which is the heavily favored side. There is a phenomenon that likes to happen sometimes where you have a clear trend over the course of the half. 5-1 halves for the defense. And then it's only attacking wins in overtime. So it could be the case here where LiViD are able to figure out their own affairs and figure out their big problems, what was happening here. One of their problems was going for those laundry and freezer executes, being slow on the time, not clearing out all the players or getting all the control that they needed, and that was both for their freezer takes and their back tower takes. Both times they tried to attack this site, so could be that they finally had a lot of time to look at what they did wrong and they know what they need to do, but who knows? It has also been a long time since they've had attack. Maybe those problems have sort of gotten away from them in the heat of the match.
Hard to say. Well, the only thing different here is that Giddy's bringing a Warden on the board, which I guess maybe they think they're going to bring Gang, though the flashbangs are pretty ridiculous right now. The flashbangs are very potent and very oppressive, so maybe that's why they're bringing the Warden, because of all the flashbangs that have been thrown around in the past so far in this game. Hard to say, but again, yeah, LiViD are once again going for a freezer laundry take, though there isn't any kind of stopping them, any kind of obstacle for the moment. But last time in the rounds we've seen before this, it doesn't even need to be an obstacle. The members in freeze themselves have been the obstacle when it comes to that execute in the late game. Though we'll see how it goes so far, as they're just, they're starting up to just opening patches, doing what they need to do to start the round off.
Taking a lot of the same course of action that they have in the rounds prior, so nothing too crazy from LiViD just yet. And also from IF, there's nobody sitting in big tower that LiViD will have to deal with in the final 30 seconds, nobody just sitting in a corner somewhere that they'll have to consider. Everyone is once again staying on the site, playing their positions. That's what worked best for IF, and LiViD weren't really able to counter for it. LiViD are showing a focus on freezer once again. Are you going to be able to get those nades in the positions they are needed at the times they're needed? They're all setting their way on down. The Yana clone going in hasn't been shot yet, so it continue gaining some intel. But also, I think, spot that player behind the shield, and this is where this is where either Xeno or Karn need to land this nade, and everyone has got to be on point in clearing this util.
Oh, here the grenade comes out. Some have been stopped, some have been hit by grenade and flashed. He can't see anything. He's backing off, and the shields are still there. There's a shield over by the rotate that's still pretty big as well. Actually, no, it's been destroyed. So at least that shield in the rotate's been disappeared. It's been destroyed. There's still one in freezer, though, I believe, and there's still smoke canister to deny this freezer take. We're down to the last 50 seconds. C4 comes off. Karn last time was big on this, pushing through from laundry and getting a good last-minute push. But this time he's been found out. His shots come through, stopping him here in his tracks. And it's only the last 30 seconds. It's not looking good for LiViD.
It's not looking great. 2 times Karn has very narrowly decapitated Giddy, but neither time, and both times the Wardens managed to fly away. But this time he's fallen, but it's Arrow with 2 kills. LiViD still in the lead. Manages to find the Goyo. They've got that freezer control and laundry as well. Inri will push on in, catches Karn sleeping at the wheel, spots Indy through the wall as well. Can he land the shots? He lands a few, but it's Vivid to pick it up. Whitlock in a 1v1. EE1D send out. He's on 1 HP. Inrio on full. IF, they might come back. They might stop the comeback and win 8-6 right here. 3 seconds left. Whitlock has to land the pre-fire. Inrio has to land 1 bullet. He lands it. The shots are... Inrio's shots are what matter most. IF, they come back. They win 8-6. Stop LiViD's attempt. And that's it. LiViD get 1 point. IF get 2, but geez, what a hell of a match from both teams.
And what a slog of defenses again and again. Just both teams on defense looking pretty good. So I say that, but also their attacks. It seems to be, again, time has been the issue for both these teams in their attacks. Even though neither of the teams played too aggressive, though we saw some aggression from the side of LiViD when it came to some of their defenses,